Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Rockingham, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We have new microphones today, so we feel like we're like on PBS or something.
I know. I feel like
Yes.
Howard Stern, like we're on a talk
satellite
radio.
Yes, we're so good. I have to work on my FM voice, but other than that, so this is a brand new thing we're trying out, and we'll see if it works out. Today is April 14th. I'm supposed to have snow tomorrow.
And now snow tomorrow or Friday.
Tomorrow, well, rain tomorrow, snow Friday, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's spring.
So
it's Vermont.
That's right, it's Vermont. Today we have Thaddeus, Buckley, and Chad Illinsgworth, and we're going to talk about the Community Engagement Project and some Terrier Hall of Fame info. Do you have any local events going on?
I don't have any local events. I specifically didn't look because we've got a lot to cover with the BF alumni with Chad, and then I know Thaddeus has a lot of topics. So people, sadly enough, you're not going to hear us chat a lot today.
I know it's a disappointment. You had last week, though.
We had
We had all last week. Anyway, so let's start with Chad. Hey, Chad, you out there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Good.
Good. So you are the ABC chairman for the Bellows Falls Alumni Association. What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's the Alumni Booster Committee, so we're part of the organization that actually raises money to give classes funds in order to build their floats. So every class who registers a float will actually get anywhere from $100 to $300 in help to pay for their building of their floats, because it's pretty expensive nowadays.
It's very expensive nowadays. Yeah. So let's touch on the Terrier Hall of Fame first. So because that was the main reason that you connected with me, is because you wanted to talk about the Terrier Hall of Fame.
Yes. Back when I was a senior in 1994 at the high school, I was the student council vice president, and I, with the help of Mr. Coyne, who a lot of people would know, we started the Terrier Hall of Fame, and we ran that from 94 to about 2001. And so we started the project back up in 2019, but unfortunately due to COVID, we didn't do anything last year, but this year we're back ready to. Nominations are currently open. They run through May 15th. We're seeking nominations, so I urge anybody out there. It's not a sports Hall of Fame per se. We have many people who are athletic and they've done a lot for the community. So some of our it's for proud, outstanding contributions to the proud Terrier tradition. So you have to be an alumni member who's been out of school for 10 years. Or a coach within the WNESU community for a minimum of 10 years. So what that means is you don't necessarily have to be a coach at the high school. You could have coached a junior league or through the rec program, stuff like that. Also, WNESU employed for at least 10 years, or a community member that's been involved in what we call the Proud Terrier tradition for at least 10 years. So we're really looking for people who give to people and support the programs.
I think, because I think the first thing people are going to think about is sports, because people like Mr. Coyne and Tim Eno and Biz Bisbee were all nominated, and they're all, coaches or had a lot to do with the coaching program. But you mentioned that Hugh Haggerty, for instance, was in the Terrier Hall of Fame, and he certainly wasn't sports related. He had a lot more to do with the school and school spirit and in his years as superintendent. So I think that's important to make sure people understand it's not just sports related.
Yeah, I mean, I would bring up another member who, her name is Virginia Corson. Now, I don't know if she did anything with sports, but she has been, I think, running the Booster Club for 20 to 25 to 30 years.
She's the rock of the Booster Club.
Really?
So it really, the committee looks at all kinds of things you can contribute to the community in many different ways.
Nice. So what's the easiest way for someone to nominate someone?
Well, we do have a website. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's sites.google.com. wnesu.com/Terrier Hall of Fame. The easier way too could be just to email terrierhallofame@gmail.com, to be honest.
Okay,
and
good.
they can,
Okay.
the other way that I would tell people, if you go to the website for the high school and you go under the community tab, there's a link right to our website right there.
Oh,
So
perfect.
we have nominations for that running through May 15th. And then we will try to have a class by the middle of June that we'll look to induct in the fall. And while I have your ear, we look for community members to help with this committee too. So we looked for at least 2 to 4 people from the community who would be interested on being on our selection committee. So that's the committee that actually selects the year's inductees. And you can do the same way, either email or go on their website.
And how much
Perfect.
time commitment is that to do, like if you get on the committee?
To be on the selection committee, it's usually 1, maybe 2 meetings, and that's
Okay.
it.
That would work perfect for you, Mike.
Keep
I'm
nominating
telling
me.
you, I'm trying to get Mike to do it. He'd be impartial.
We are trying to figure out how to do the selection committee this year. We've talked about maybe doing it, via Zoom, stuff like that. But for some people, it started with the technology thing. So we may be looking at doing maybe something outside where we're socially distanced with masks, because there's a conversation piece that goes along with when we actually go through the selection process.
Nice. So I know that one other area that you wanted to touch on was alumni. Alumni is not going to happen this year, sadly.
Right.
It's going to happen in 2022, and you're going to be having. So in 2022, you're going to be celebrating 3 50-year classes and 3 graduating classes. And
Yes.
little known fact, the Alumni Association pays for the 50-year classes. So you're looking to make sure that people, first of all, pay their alumni dues, but you also have a special fund going. Is that correct, for the 50-year class?
Yeah, so we'll be looking to celebrate, like you said, the class of 1970, 71, and 72, all next year. The dates will be June 17th, 18th, and 19th of 2022, because it's always on Father's Day weekend. The alumni pays for every class member who attends their 50-year reunion. So it depends. I mean, if they have 80 members come, it can be quite expensive to us. It's something that we pride ourselves on doing, but we haven't had a lot of income, obviously, last year and this year. So we really urge, if you are watching today and you are a alumni of Bellows Falls Union High School, please pay your dues. And if you can, I know times are a little bit tough. If you can, please, put some money towards, you can do many things. You can do the 50 years. We're doing a special 50-year fund this year to actually have that money go to those 3 classes for 2022. You can donate to the ABC committee. You can donate to the scholarships. If you are familiar with us, we give out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every year to these deserving seniors, and it comes from fundraising and from the whole weekend.
Great.
Okay,
So I
I
think-
know you're always out there with the buckets.
Out there
and-
with the buckets, collecting every year, the yellow buckets, and we haven't been able to do that for 2 years, and that's a big hit in the alumni's
Yeah.
income.
Isn't that like
so?
a pretty big percentage? of
Very
the-
big percentage.
yeah.
So I really would urge people to please pay your dues. It's super easy. You go to the website, the dues page pops up. You can pay it on PayPal. They make it as easy as they possibly could have for you, aside from coming to your house and collecting, which I think is just not an option with
Might not
with
work.
might not work out right now with COVID. So we thank you, Chad, for coming on, and
Well, thank
maybe
you for
in the
having me.
fall we can do something. We can do a special show on the people that are inducted.
Yeah, I think that would be really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
That, any kind of publicity that we can get with either site, with whether it be the alumni or the Hall of Fame, they are kind of connected. The alumni does help out. We do have a member of the alumni that sits on the organizational committee for the Hall of Fame, so we are connected. We're connected with the Booster Club. We're connected with the high school. So we really urge, any kind of support and help. And then, just to touch real big, quick, also, we're going to be celebrating 3 graduating classes next summer. So we're going to be celebrating the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022 next summer. So we urge you to pay your dues, but come out next year because we want this to be the biggest weekend that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And I think people will be ready to celebrate.
I
Oh, I
think
think
people will. Well, thank you
Yes,
for coming
thank you
on
for
today.
coming on, and I hope you'll come on
Thank you.
again, and maybe when the selections get closer and it comes time to announce, you'll come on the show and do an announcement. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Great.
and
Thanks,
have a
Rich.
good one.
Touch them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
And
you,
we're gonna,
guys.
and moving on, we're gonna go to Thaddeus. Thaddeus, are you there still?
I am.
Hey, good seeing you again.
Good seeing you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, as I hope people remember, about a month ago, Thaddeus was on, and we announced a new position of in the police department of the community engagement officer. He's since then he's been fielding phone calls and making connections, and we sort of wanted to get an update and see how things are going, and encourage people to use this program. So how's it
Oh.
going?
It's been going very well. Thank you. I was very pleased by the amount of calls we've received to date. There were a lot of outreach programs that contacted us based off of coming on your show. And we also had quite a few individual calls, a lot of them in regards to certain situations they might have found themselves in and asking for advice or clarification of procedures. And so that was kind of the most of the calls were that. And we also received a call from the Brattleboro Reformer, and they did a follow-up to the show, which was
Yeah.
great. That opened up a few more doors, and a few more people called us. We even received a call from a retired state trooper who is looking to do business in Bellows Falls and wanted to come to town and learn more about the town. So we gave him a tour of the town, and he was very excited by it. And it was nice because he never was a state trooper coming through Bellows Falls, and he was shocked by our lights that were on at nighttime. He just could not believe how beautiful the town was. So it was perfect. So I kind of set that up to make sure he came at night so he could see that. So
Oh, that's
it was
great.
pretty exciting.
That seems like
Yeah.
almost an unintended consequence there. That's a surprise one. I wouldn't have expected that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That was a real surprise, and he said some interesting things, and I really liked it. He said that he was I did a ride along with him. We were masked up, and he was surprised by how many people would wave to us. Like, he was kind of shocked. He said, "Everybody's waving," and he just thought it was surprising to him. And I just said, it's a small community,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of how it goes in Bellows Falls. So that was nice as well.
Yeah, I would think that's an indication of a nice community, is that people
For sure.
wave. Yes.
Yeah, that's
right.
exactly what he said.
So, you had some sort of almost community service things that happened, like with the Justice Center and.
We did, and that was really nice, because that's exactly the directions that we're going. So I was really pleased to have those calls come in. One of the first calls we had was the Greater Falls Community Justice Center, and this is a program that we really, really like. This is kind of almost old school in how police used to be with communities. I know when I was young, if let's just say if we got in a little trouble when we were younger, the police would usually pick you up, bring you to your house, and sit down with your parents and talk about it. And you would pay some kind of restitution to whatever you did wrong, and you would speak to the people that you might have harmed, and there would be a connection built, and you would learn about what it means to be a good citizen. Instead of, the police didn't just immediately give you a ticket and cite you and say you have to go to court. It
Right,
wasn't done
right.
like that. And I see that happening now, that we're looking at doing these structured dialogues. So if someone gets in trouble, we speak to the person that was harmed, and we speak to the person that did the harming, if that's the case, and we try to put them together and see if we can come up with a solution rather than going to court.
Yeah,
It was nice being called by them. So that's a program we really
that's
like.
a great program, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I like how you describe that. It is back to an older school, an older way of thinking, where it wasn't this third party that handled it. It was everyone came together, and there was a community solution to whatever the issue was. Yeah, and I think that's more
Yeah, and
personal.
it does. It leads to accountability, and it's, it embraces a law-abiding lifestyle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you just immediately put someone in the system, it doesn't always happen that way. And I think a lot of times too, if let's just say if somebody steals someone's wheelbarrow out of their yard, the person who's stealing the wheelbarrow doesn't understand how much that can affect the person that they're taking it
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
I mean, it can be even a life-changing event where most people will think, it's just a wheelbarrow. But to the person losing that wheelbarrow, it's very traumatic. So to be able to put both of those people together and discuss it, there's great outcomes
Yeah,
in that
yeah. I could see
that
that,
scenario,
Yeah,
rather
well,
than
you're making a
putting that
connection.
the offender in
Connecting
court.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think, and I think, not to be too critical, but it builds resentments toward all sorts of people when you don't do it that way. When each party is acting independently and the person just gets a ticket, then they get a resentment both toward the police and to the person who was both sides resent the other. Yeah, it's really not a good solution.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So what else is going on?
Yeah, so along with that, we had a few different programs that contacted, and this is a fun one, the Greater Falls Connection. Deb Whitkiss is the director. It's a community outreach, and it's a great program, and I've known Deb Whitkiss for many, many years, and she always puts these great programs together, and we have a program coming up, and it's Saturday, April 24th, and it's called Bike to Box Event. And it's a great little event where people can drop off unused RX drugs. We give free RX drug lock boxes so parents can keep their medications safe from their children. They'll talk about Big Brother, Big Sister programs. And we're going to do a few fun things with the police. I'm going to bring out the radar and let them ride their bikes in a controlled street and see how fast they're going. And then I'm going to let the kids use the radar guns, and we're going to kind of guess how fast the cars are driving by the police station and see who comes closest in speed to the actual radar.
Oh, that's
So I think it'll be a fun event. It's for about 2 hours, and we're hoping a lot of kids will show up. So we're pretty excited about that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Nice.
I might show up for that.
Yeah, I'll bring my kids as well. So it should be a lot of fun.
I don't have
and then
kids.
third,
I mean,
Mike just wants to see how fast
I
his
just
bike
wanna
will
see how
go.
fast my bike can go. Anyway.
bring it by, Mike. Bring it by. And then another one which is really important. I just want to bring this up. This is an important one. Turning Point is a group that we work with. They're from Springfield. They work with EMTs, fire department, the police department, and they work with to reduce drug-related incidents, and they are wonderful. And anybody that's having any issues with drugs, we strongly recommend they call them or call us, and we can talk to them. But they're great with recovery support. But one of the main things that we work with as a police department is it's called a Good Samaritan Law. And I just want to stress that people that are involved with drugs, and if they're with somebody that's having a bad experience, they can give us a call. And even if there are drugs found at the site, they will not be charged at all. The law really is to protect somebody that might be overdosing. And we strongly ask them to call us if they're in a situation like that. And we will come by and make sure that EMS, fire department, the right services arrive. And with the Good Samaritan Law, they will not be charged with anything. And that's important for them to know.
That's
So
really
that was a
that's
group
really,
that called us, and I just wanted to bring that up. That was important.
I agree that I know of at least one instance where if people had known that, it probably would have saved a person's life, because they freaked out and took a person somewhere and then left them off trying not to get in trouble, and the person ended up passing, and it was terrible.
And we've been in a few situations like that, and it's very sad where children in the house are afraid to call because it's their parents, and a parent passed, and that might not have happened if the children felt that they could call us without getting their parents in trouble. And we just want to stress that the parents will not get in trouble. And it's we understand in the Bellows Falls Police Department that drugs like heroin and these drugs, it's a disease, and we understand that, and we want to help people. And so this Good Samaritan Law is important for families and friends, and to know that they can call us, and we will help them, or call Turning Point, and they will really help them. Turning Point will also help that if someone is in their house and they're actually taking a drug, they can call Turning Point and let them know that they're taking a certain drug, and Turning Point will actually call and check on them to make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very important one, and that's why I wanted to stress that. And I was so happy that they contacted us, and that was great.
That is. So we have about 5 minutes left. How about individuals? Did individuals call you? And because I was thinking that might be the big volume that you would get.
It was, and there were some I won't be able to repeat on the air, but
Because
and
we
I
have
dealt
to
with
edit
those
them
people,
too
but I
much?
understand. And but yes, we did. We received a lot of individual calls, and I appreciate those as much as the other, because those are really important, because those are the community members that really have that are involved daily in some situations. Some of them that I received the most about were cars, and it was about driving with certain things wrong with their car, and they wanted to check on what would be a ticket and what would not be
yeah,
a ticket.
yeah.
So we talked a lot about that, and what is defective equipment, where you're more apt to get a ticket rather than an officer giving you a warning and giving you a few days to try to get it fixed.
Right,
We understand it. I mean, as police officers, every dollar that a full-time officer makes is already spent on mortgages and car payments. And when we sit around in meetings, we discuss it as a way and say, what if we were to get $100 or $150 ticket? How would that affect us? And we understand, even with a full-time job, how much $150 can really put you in a deep hole. So we respect that when we see people with defective equipment, and as long as it's not a danger to other drivers on the road, we usually will work with them.
Oh, good.
So that was a big one that came in. We received quite a few on that one, for sure. And the winter parking, that was a big one as well. Lots of I think some complaints and some questions about how the winter parking works, and what I'll say, it's not winter anymore, but what I would suggest is that if your car is going to be parked in a spot past the time it's supposed to, just call the police department and let us know why your car would be in a spot where it's not supposed to be past a certain time, and we will certainly work with that driver in not getting them a ticket. We just ask that you give us a call so we can work with you.
Nice.
Those were
good.
big questions
That's
as
very
well.
good. Yeah, that's fantastic. Winter's not over though. It's going to snow tonight.
No,
tomorrow.
I know.
What's going to happen?
I heard.
Chaos.
So we might have to still come back with that one.
So any other calls that were like a group of calls, or
Yeah, I mean, definitely going back to like the Turning Point. I think a lot of it was just calls on marijuana, being legal or not legal, and what they can and can't do. Things like if they requested Narcan, something like that, where Narcan is a drug that can save your life if you're overdosing on heroin, and they wanted to ask if we were to ask you that, are you going to then harass us, because then you're thinking that we're doing drugs, and questions like that. And we strongly suggest they call us for those, so we can help them get whatever they need and know they would not be harassed at all. We understand it's a disease, and we want to work with them for sure. So that was a big one as well. So I think tickets, what drugs are legal and what are not legal, how people can get help, and the winter parking. Those so far are the biggest ones.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you came on. I hope you'll come on periodically, because those are, in a way, I was a little bit surprised about the ticket thing. I thought sort of more the marijuana and things like that made sense to me, but it's so interesting that the job you're doing, and I want to thank you for doing that. And could you give us your phone number one more time so that people who want to call and ask questions.
Yes. Yes. So I have a police cell phone just for this program. It is 802-289-1380. Again, it's 802-289-1380. And if you call me with a question within 72 hours, well before that, but within 72 hours, I'll have an answer to your question. So you won't be, and it'll go probably to my voicemail just because we're pretty busy, but I will have an answer to your question.
Okay, great. Thank you, Thaddeus.
That was
You're
our
welcome.
out of
Thanks
time
for having
buzzer.
me.
And that we just hit our out of time buzzer. I want to thank the people at Fact TV for our new microphones. This is amazing. We feel
You guys
so professional now. But anyway, we're actually going to get new pictures, I heard.
Nice.
And so take it easy, Thaddeus, and we're out of here.
Bye, community.
Bye, community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. My God, my